so much better, so much more fun than it used to be. Because remember in the 70s, the 80s, even the early 90s, you had to spend hours on end in a studio. And
for decades, Rod Stewart lived the kind of love life that kept tabloids busy. Supermodels, heartbreaks, marriages, affairs, and second chances seemed to follow him everywhere. But recently, the legendary rocker made a surprisingly honest confession about the one woman he believes he never should have let go. And considering the incredible highs and painful lows of his personal life, that admission caught many fans by surprise. Behind the sold-out concerts, worldwide fame, and larger-than-life personality was a man carrying regrets that never fully disappeared. So who was the woman Rod Stewart could never truly forget? Let's find out. Born in North London in 1945, Rod Stewart grew up in a loving household as the youngest of 5 children. His childhood was happy, filled with 2 great passions that dominated the family: soccer and music. As a teenager, Stewart dreamed of becoming a professional soccer player. He left school at just 15 years old to pursue the sport, believing it was his path to success. But after a disappointing tryout with Brentford FC, his football ambitions came to an end. Fortunately, music was waiting. Inspired by artists like Little Richard, Stewart became obsessed with performing. His father bought him a guitar, and soon he was chasing a different dream. But success didn't come easily. Before fame arrived, Stewart worked a series of ordinary jobs. He delivered newspapers, worked in wallpaper printing, trained as an electrician, and even spent time working around cemeteries and funeral homes. Through it all, he never stopped pursuing music. At just 16 years old, he joined a band called the Raiders and believed his big break had finally arrived. Instead, a disastrous audition with producer Joe Meek left him humiliated when Meek reportedly stormed into the studio and demanded he stop singing. Most people would have quit. Rod Stewart didn't. He continued performing, busking on London streets and immersing himself in the city's growing music scene. During this period, he also became involved in protests and counterculture movements, though he later admitted his motivation wasn't entirely political. In typical Rod Stewart fashion, he joked that he mostly attended because he wanted to meet women. And that's exactly what happened. In 1962, he met artist Susanna Buffy. The relationship moved quickly, and before long she became pregnant. Stewart was only 17 years old and far from ready for responsibility. Instead of embracing fatherhood, he walked away. Years later, this chapter of his life would become one of his biggest regrets. Buffy eventually gave birth alone and later placed the child up for adoption. Stewart continued chasing his music career while leaving that painful chapter behind. At the time, fame seemed far more important than family. As the years passed, his persistence finally paid off. A chance encounter with musician Long John Baldry changed everything. Baldry heard Stewart playing harmonica and invited him into his band. Soon, Stewart was opening shows for major acts and building momentum. He later joined the Jeff Beck Group and then Faces, establishing himself as one of Britain's most exciting rock performers. By the 1970s, Rod Stewart had become a superstar. Hits like Tonight's the Night, Sailing, and Do Ya Think I'm Sexy transformed him into an international sensation. Along with success came money, fame, and endless attention. And with that attention came countless romances. Stewart's love life became almost as famous as his music. He dated actresses, models, and socialites, earning a reputation as one of rock music's most notorious womanizers. One notable relationship was with actress Joanna Lumley. Their romance was short-lived, but Lumley later remembered Stewart as surprisingly polite and grounded despite his growing fame. Soon afterward, Stewart entered a relationship with Swedish actress Britt Ekland. Their passionate romance inspired one of his biggest hits, Tonight's the Night. The song became a massive success and helped launch him into true superstardom in America. But success did not bring stability. His relationship with Ekland eventually ended amid reports of infidelity. Before long, Stewart moved on to model Alana Collins. This relationship became serious enough to lead to marriage. The couple welcomed 2 children and appeared to be building a family together. For a brief moment, it looked as though Rod Stewart had finally settled down. But old habits proved difficult to break. The marriage eventually collapsed after Stewart began a relationship with model Kelly Berg. The divorce deeply hurt Collins, who later admitted the breakup left emotional scars. Stewart himself would later acknowledge that ending relationships was never something he handled well. His romance with Kelly Berg followed a familiar pattern. Once family responsibilities entered the picture, Stewart's attention drifted elsewhere. During this period, he openly embraced the wild rock star lifestyle, surrounding himself with parties, luxury cars, and endless nightlife. Yet despite the chaos, he somehow avoided the fate that consumed many musicians of his generation. Stewart often credited his love of soccer and women for keeping him away from serious drug addiction. Then came another life-changing romance. In the late 1980s, Stewart met New Zealand model Rachel Hunter. She was beautiful, charismatic, and more than 20 years younger than him. The attraction was immediate. Only 3 months after meeting, they were married. For the first time in years, Stewart genuinely believed he had found lasting love. Together they built a family, welcoming daughter Renee and son Liam. Unlike many of his previous relationships, Stewart insists he never cheated on Rachel Hunter. But despite his commitment, the marriage didn't survive. In 1999, Hunter left. According to Stewart, she wanted a quieter life away from the spotlight. The constant pressure of celebrity eventually became too much. Her departure devastated him. For all his stories about parties and romance, Stewart has openly admitted that losing Rachel Hunter broke his heart. And that heartbreak eventually led him to another woman. Shortly after the breakup, photographer and model Penny Lancaster entered his life. Their connection was immediate, though Stewart's friends worried he was rushing into another serious relationship too quickly. This time, however, things were different. Lancaster remained by his side through the ups and downs of life. They welcomed children together and eventually married in 2007. For the first time in decades, Stewart seemed genuinely committed to family life. But even as he embraced stability, the past came calling. In 2007, a young woman arrived at a recording studio claiming to be his daughter. At first, Stewart assumed it was a mistake. Then he saw her. The resemblance was undeniable. The woman was Sarah Streeter, the daughter he had fathered decades earlier with Susanna Buffy. After learning the truth about her biological father from her adoptive family, Sarah decided to reach out. The reunion was emotional and complicated, shaped by years of separation and unanswered questions. Over time, however, they built a relationship and Sarah became part of the Stewart family. The experience forced Rod Stewart to confront one of the most painful decisions of his youth. It also encouraged him to reflect on the many relationships that had shaped his life. After 3 marriages, 8 children, countless romances, and decades spent in the spotlight, Stewart eventually began looking back with greater honesty. And that's when he made the confession that surprised so many fans. During a recent interview, Stewart reflected on his past relationships, especially his marriage to Rachel Hunter. Despite being happily married to Penny Lancaster today, Stewart admitted that the end of his relationship with Hunter remains one of the most painful chapters of his life. Looking back, he believes their age difference played a major role in the breakup. Hunter was only 21 when they married, while Stewart was already 45. Even members of his own family had expressed concerns at the time. Years later, Hunter herself acknowledged that her youth contributed to the challenges they faced. For Stewart, that realization brought a painful question: what if things had been different? Among all the women who passed through his life, all the relationships that ended, and all the mistakes he made, Rachel Hunter remained the one who left the deepest mark. While he never directly said he wanted to rewrite history, his comments revealed something rare: regret. Not regret over fame. Not regret over success. But regret over losing someone he truly loved. Today, Rod Stewart appears content. His marriage to Penny Lancaster remains strong, his family continues to grow, and his legendary music career still captivates audiences around the world. Yet even after decades of success, his story serves as a reminder that fame cannot protect anyone from heartbreak. Sometimes the relationships we lose become the ones we remember most. And for Rod Stewart, it seems that Rachel Hunter will always hold a special place in his heart. What do you think? Did Rod Stewart let the love of his life slip away, or was everything meant to happen exactly as it did? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest celebrity stories and exclusive updates.